Welcome back to FullyInjected.com, presented by Schaefer's Racing Oil and Doug Smith. This another edition of On the Horn, presented by ZeroWraps.com. I'm here tonight with Jack Sodeman Jr. of North Jackson, Ohio, a 410 Sprinkler regular in Western Pennsylvania, but has plans to hit the road in 2013. All right, Jack, thanks for giving me a call here tonight, man. I really appreciate it. It gives me a chance to talk to you about 2012 as well as the season to come. First of all, how were the holidays, man?
Holidays are great. I mean, it's always a good time to actually spend it with the family and a lot of the folks that we get to not always see, especially being racing all the time. It's kind of not the biggest thing to, as a family man goes, is seeing all your family and doing a lot of things. You miss a lot of birthdays, a lot of get-togethers that the family has. So I like to spend time with the family, and of course, this was just had a baby. She's 5 months old, so it was her first Christmas, so everybody was pretty excited about that yet.
Yeah, that would make the holiday season a lot more special, huh?
Yeah, she's teething right now, so other than wanting to eat all the paper, presents, or trees or anything, she was around. Yeah, but Grandma and Grandpa, they were pretty excited, and here in a couple weeks, and one weekend in January here, we're going to go out to California and see Catherine's family, and they'll get to spend time, kind of open up some more gifts, so she gets 2 Christmases instead of 1, so she's going to be pretty excited about that.
But hey, man, let's recap a little bit about 2012. You're definitely, I mean, maybe not your winningest season, but I mean, by far, maybe your most consistent. You had about 35 starts. You're inside the top 10 almost 30 times. Inside the top 5 about 25 times. I mean, that's got to be near the top as far as consistency. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, yeah. Well, consistency-wise, we couldn't really complain. We were pretty low on our DNFs. We had about 5 DNFs, so luck kind of went our way a little bit. Had a little bit of bad luck here and there, but by no means what in the racing industry what you can call bad luck. And we were able to stay up in the top 5 pretty consistently and do really well. And went to quite a few big races, a lot of all-star races, some outlaw shows, and we did pretty well there. So can't really cap the whole season off saying that it was disappointing by any means, especially just coming back from being hurt here last year. Wasn't real sure if I was going to be able to get back up to speed real quick. You know, it was a while in the car. And when we went at the beginning of the year in Georgia and Florida, I was definitely a little off on speed. And we had just horrible luck there at the beginning of the year in the Rudsley car. And when we switched over to the 23 and kind of run our own deal and we got to get some track time, I mean, it just like anything, it doesn't matter what you do. You can't buy it. You can't do anything except for track time is, you know, get that seat time back in the seat and get your timing back. The only way you can do it is get in the car. And it came along pretty good. We were finishing right from the beginning. We were kind of finishing up in the top 10. We got some wins, and it was definitely a really good season. I can't complain there.
Yeah, for those who may not know, you spend most of your summers racing in Western Pennsylvania. You were a former track champion at Sharon Speedway, in Eastern Ohio, but I think as Western Pennsylvania sprint car fans they kind of connect with Sharon Speedway a little bit more just because it's a majority of the drivers that compete there or used to compete there weekly were Western PA natives. You spent some time at Lernerville Speedway, Mercer Raceway Park. You ran at Pittsburgh when they offered 410 competition. Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about, I mean, I understand you spent some time this summer without the wings, correct?
Yeah, it's been about 6 or 7 years since we actually did any wingless racing. I didn't go more than a handful of times. I probably had about 3 or 4 wingless races that I've run previously, and then we went to one USAC show at Lernerville Speedway, and we did pretty well. I had a little bit of bad luck and did well in the heat race. I just messed up, drove off the track, and I had to come from about 10th to 4th. I had to make the show there, and since I made the mistake, I didn't want to have to answer to everybody when I got back in, so I figured I better get on the wheel and do something. We ended up taking the show on the last lap, last corner, which was really exciting for the fans and us and everybody. I was just glad that I was able to make the show. And very first lap, we lost the brake line, which was pretty tough in the wingless racing. You kind of need the brakes to be able to do stuff. So we kind of rode around. We ended up 13th or 15th or something. But against USAC guys, that's what they do to put food on their table. So we were pretty excited about that. And then this year, the Boss Series came around, and they were running a lot of wingless stuff. So I didn't really expect too much when I went to the shows. I just wanted to try to make the shows and have a good finish on a lot of the shows, and ended up running 4 of the shows, and we got second at Mercer, and we got 2 wins, one at Sharon Speedway, one at PMS, and then in the heat race at Wayne County, we ended up in two of those shows we didn't even plan on going to, which was really, really odd. We planned on going to Wayne County for a wing show, but they had canceled, and we actually went all the way from Wayne County, drove over to PMS, and we had the wing, it all set up for wing racing. So we switched it over real quick before the odd lap started, and we ended up winning that race, which was pretty outstanding. I never had a win at PMS to begin with, and I always wanted one. We ended up winning the wing show the week previous to that at the Pittsburgh, and then we won that one. That was definitely probably one of the best months we had to be able to do that. And then it went the other way around too, where we were going to another race. I believe Pittsburgh actually canceled their show. We ended up going to Wayne County and taking the wing off the same way.
Yeah.
And just had a little bit of bad luck in the heat. We ended up breaking a spindle going into the corner. We ended up flipping in the heat race. We got it all back together and started 11th in the B, and actually got up and won that. Just right place at the right time. Started in the back of the feature and got up to about 6th or 7th, somewhere in there. So we had a really good showing wingless. So it's just one of those things that I adapted to pretty quick, I guess. The best way I could describe wingless racing was it was a really bad handling wing car. So
yeah, I was just going to ask you. That was like a perfect transition into my next question. While I'm talking to you about that, I mean, you obviously raced the wing and non-wing last summer, and I mean, to you, with your experience, what describe the driving characteristics? I mean, they're obviously night and day. I mean, can you give us some insider scoop on how big of a difference it is?
The wing car, I mean, the biggest difference is you keep the wing car really as straight as you can, as fast as you can go. You want to try to keep your momentum up. Momentum means everything in a wing car, and if you even make a little bit of a twitch or anything, it actually pulls the motor or kills it enough that anybody with momentum can really take advantage of it. With a wingless car, it's actually like, it would be like a wing car with no side light whatsoever. It just doesn't have that planet on the left rear where it has a lot of drive all the time. So you actually, to go into the corners hard, you kind of back them in and use the throttle and use the scrubbing of the tires against the ground to actually slow the car down when you're coming in the corners. So it's definitely a different driving aspect, but when you're in a sprint car, you adapt to it like anything. Like as I said, it's kind of like a bad handling wing car. So it's as many nights as I've messed up and been hit to set up in a wing car, I guess it transferred pretty good over to wingless because I was already kind of used to a car that didn't handle too well. And it's you just got to be smooth and smart. It's the wingless racing is very, very fun, but it's also twice as hard on the driver. And a lot of times the car, when you take a crash, everything's real solid. There's just no cushion. So you just gotta kind of watch, and you have the car sometimes a little bit softer, where you need a little bit more support. Like you take the right front out and the right rear's out about as far as you can get. And you just gotta be a little bit smarter. But once you get the feel of it, it's actually a lot of fun.
Kind of discussing a little bit more about next year, we recently released some information about you and your plans, but why don't you give us a little more insight of what's going to happen? I understand you're going to team back up with Rudzik this year. You're planning on racing 50, 60, maybe even 70 shows, and you're going to start down south, correct?
Yeah, it's the beginning of the season here at February 7th. We'll be in Scrubbin, Georgia, and then the 8th and 9th will be at Ocala, kind of running that deal down there in February to shake everything down. Me, Jeff Rudzik, and Mark Kubik, the guy that I'm actually partners with in my team in the 23 junior car, we all kind of sat back and noticed that it was going to be exceptionally hard for us to be able to keep up financially. Even with myself and Mark, we can run local in some of the bigger shows if we're doing well local. I sat down with Jeff, and he had a lot of the equipment setting up there. He wasn't using. He wanted to actually go out and run some more races. I've run for Jeff a lot of times in the past, and we got kind of put back together where I was running a car for him. We ended up going down to Florida one year. He's always wanted to go down to Florida. He never had the opportunity, and I had to work it a lot of times, so that's how I was out of the car, and he was putting different drivers in the car. He just called me up and asked if I'd like to go down, and we went down and did pretty well. And from there, we've won some of the charity races, some of the bigger races at times, and we just never had the opportunity to actually run a full season together with me running the car, just because at the time, I was working on the road, so I'd have to leave and go on the road, and he would hire somebody else. And of course, he wasn't going to throw anybody out of the car just because I came back home, so there was a lot of times that he had somebody else in the car, and then when something happened between there, he put me back in. So this year, we just sat down, and he wanted to run some more races. I couldn't financially do it on my own to run more races. So we kind of put all our eggs in one basket so we could actually go out and have the opportunity to run. He's got pretty good equipment where it gives me a lot better opportunity at the qualifying shows to do well and get a little bit better starting positions. And that's really where it's at. At a lot of the wing shows and bigger shows, you really want to start in the first 3 rows or so. If you have an opportunity to start at least mid-pack forward, that's where it kind of shakes out, gives you a lot more opportunity. And definitely looking forward to the season. I'm excited to have the opportunity to run a lot more races and get a full season again. So we do plan on running the All-Star Series pretty much as much as we possibly can this year. I can't really go out in the Midwest with them and a lot of the things that they do thunder through the plains. But other than that, we're going to run, which gives it about 30 or 40 races. But we do plan on running about 60 or so.
Now, when you're not on the road with the All-Star Circuit of Champions, I understand you're going to try to you're going to come back home a little bit, run locally in Western PA, and maybe hit and miss some wingless stuff. Is that still on the agenda, or are you guys going to save the equipment and just run the time trial shows only?
No, it's anytime that we're not running with the All-Stars and either they're not running or it shows that we can't make it, like when they do the Thunder Through the Plains, we definitely, Western Pennsylvania has always been good to me, especially. As I said when I got hurt before, those are the fans that stood behind me. I can't really say how much that it actually helped. They'll never realize how much they help. When you're not working and you don't have any money coming in, they actually help me financially, and I had cars, and I mean, there was just so much support there from the racing family. It was unbelievable. So I'm definitely going to come back and run for those same fans that supported me when I was in need. I want to make sure that I go out and put the best show on I can for all those fans.
Well, is this going to be technically your first, full season, full time on the road, or is this something that you've done before in the past?
No, I've never had the opportunity to actually have a lot of time on the road. It's, obviously we've run some races in New York and Canada, a lot of different things where we've traveled, but we've always had the opportunity to come back home and kind of regroup and kind of run what we wanted. Where now it's when you're on the road and you're doing 2 and 3 day shows, that'll be kind of new, and there's a lot of new tracks that we'll be going to as well that I don't have a lot of experience at. So just finding out what gear that we need to run and setups and things like that, as well as getting the driver up to boot on some of the tracks. So it's a new venture for me as far as a lot of some of the tracks that we'll see, and for that amount of competition night in and night out is definitely something new. And I think it'll only help. I mean, you're only as fast as your competitor, so if they force you to get faster, you're not going to do well. You're definitely going to get faster, so I'm definitely looking forward to it.
You got to have some goals, planned ahead for 2013. I mean, I understand, like you said, we're going to be visiting a lot of tracks you've never been to before, maybe have never even heard of. I mean, who knows what the schedule is going to entail. It hasn't been released yet entirely that I've seen. But you got to have some goals for next year. What are a few of them, if you have any?
I'd definitely like to, as long as we're competitive, I don't have grandeurs of going out and think we're going to win a bunch of races, especially when you're going against that kind of competition. But we would like to go and be able to contend and be there night in and night out, be able to stay in the top 5 and top 10 and keep a lot of consistency, do well. And, of course, I would definitely like to win races. There's no two ways about that. I've never actually, in all the years that I've run, I've never won an all-star race. So it'd be kind of a dream come true if we can get out there and be competitive enough that we can win against them and run against that kind of competition, then we know we're doing really well. So as far as goals go, we do want to win some races, but we want to kind of stay in the top 10s and kind of make a lot of the shows and do well at the tracks that we haven't seen before and get to learn different setups and kind of get more inclined to be able to go fast no matter where we go and who's there. And that's something like you go some of the bigger shows, that some of the qualifying shows, I got to get a little bit faster on the qualifying aspect because in Western Pennsylvania they do a lot of things by field draw, so it puts you at a disadvantage when you go to a qualifying show and you haven't done it that often. So that's where the consistency really has to come in. So we're just looking to kind of stay in the top 10 and do really well, and of course we can win some races and do well and put on a good show for all the fans. That's pretty much where the goals are sitting right now. We just want to try to keep everything in one piece and do as well as we can.
Jack, I know you got a lot of people behind you, a lot of people supporting you. You got sponsors, people to thank. Anybody you want to mention right now or talk about?
Absolutely. I mean, it's of course Jeff Rudzik and Bonnie Rudzik they coming on board has definitely given me a lot more opportunities, and they have a little bit more equipment than I was able to have in the one car in one motor at a time to be able to run it. So if we had any bad luck, we were really behind the eight ball, where he has a couple motors, a couple cars to be able to play with, and gives us a lot more as far as that goes. Economy tolling, which is Mark Kubek, which has been partners with me for the last 3 years. When as you've seen, we've done really well since me and Mark got together. He's never, when he was owning a car before, they never won a race at Lernerville, and there was a lot of goals that he had that we've actually been able to do together, which meant a lot. I won my very first race at Lernerville, and he got to win his very first race at Lernerville, kind of as a car owner and on a car that he was teammates with, and he lost his father here a couple of years ago, Mark Sr., he was at every race. He was pretty much one of my biggest fans, and he was actually still alive and everything, and got to see that, something that he's wanted to see along the ways for forever. As far as he's been in racing, Lernerville Speedway was where he went every week. But you have Rustic Excavating, you have Economy Tolling, Glass Mirror, Fuel came on board. They're actually helping out Franklin Loren, PRS Transit, Johnson Gas and Oil, Cressman Power Sports, which is the engine builder, is Scotty Cressman. We've had really good luck since Scotty came on board and as a motor builder, and we've actually become really close friends. Johnson Gas and Oil, which is Brad Penn Oil, Muller Built Seats, Simpson Racing Products, and Travis Craft Race Cars. Ronnie Travis, anytime that I do step on it and mess the car up, he's definitely pretty good at putting them back together for me.
It doesn't hurt to have somebody like him on board, that's for sure. But
we don't like to have to visit him, but when we do, I know everything's going to be done right, and he's actually helped us out over the years quite a bit and done a lot of work where we needed it back right away because we only have the one car running, and that's the only way we can get back to the track, and he's done a lot of stuff for us.
But you know what, Jack, thanks a lot. Thanks for giving me a call here. I appreciate you wanting to hang out with me here in a little bit here tonight. And I wish you the best of luck in 2013. I'm sure I'll see you at a track close by here eventually.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely be around, especially in the western Pennsylvania area. There's a lot of all-star races that run in the area, as well as anytime we're not running with the all-stars. We'll definitely be in the area and pretty much run wingless, or any other way that they want to make a sprint car. I just like to race. It's some people have their addictions of some people have cocaine. I have racing. That's my addiction, and that's what we got to do.
It's a little safer, I'd say, too, huh? Well, Jack, like I said, I wish you the best of luck, and thanks for giving me a call.
All right, thanks a lot.